Well, I guess it's good to put it out there so that the regulator will also be aware and perhaps put some strategies to mitigate some of these dissenting voices. Now, another matter, this came up over the weekend. The Vice President, Oil and Gas at Dangote Industries Limited accused international oil companies in Nigeria of doing everything to frustrate the survival of Dangote Oil Refinery and Petrochemicals. He said that they are jerking up high premium price above the market price, thereby forcing them to import crude from other countries. It's no longer news. We've spoken about how Dangote has been importing crude from outside the country, importing even WTI. And then sometimes we've asked the question, why? But let's try to understand the supply chain. And perhaps this will give us a bit of an explanation of how come IOCs in Nigeria can, if this is correct, mitigate or frustrate another company in the country. Let's discuss this with the chairman of Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria, Mr. Momo Oyakerua. He joins us virtually from London. Mr. Oyakerua, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing good. So this is an allegation from Dangote, and you are in the value chain. We are not. So, when I was discussing this in the office off air, obviously, a lot of people, including myself, are asking how come they're able to influence or frustrate another company, that's the IOCs, in getting crude. Could you explain to us the picture, the background picture of this?
Okay, thank you. I will take it from the angle of what I would call producers of crude rather than focusing on the IOCs alone. I think what we usually call IOC are the international producers, but I don't think it's just about the international producers or international operators in Nigeria. I think it's more or less about the producers of crude in Nigeria that are perhaps frustrating the refineries in Nigeria from getting crude, because we have been on this journey. I particularly have been on this journey for about 3 to 4 years now, advocating for crude sales to local refineries and also perhaps, when necessary, mostly for the modular refineries, for crude to be sold to them in Naira, because most of their products are produced into the local market and they sell in Naira, their income actually in Naira. And it's just commonsensical that if you sell product in Naira, and you should be able to get your feedstock in Naira, mostly when that feedstock is produced locally, so that you don't put pressure on foreign currency, on the USD that is already scarce in the country. But however, coming back to your question, what is actually happening is that we have had several engagements with the NUPROC and all of that. It is very clear in the PIA law, in section 109, there is DCSO, which is supposed to be domestic crude supply obligation to support the local refineries. And I think that law was specifically put there by the legislators not to starve the local refineries. But what we have seen is a huge and stiff resistance from the producers of crude in Nigeria. They would rather prefer to export crude abroad than to sell to local refinery. What I have always said is that crude is not used for any other thing than for refineries. And if we have functional refineries in Nigeria, why shouldn't we be able to support? I think also the government has to play its role to ensure that the laws that they have passed are actually implemented, because we are trying our best. We are pushing as member of CORAN, including Dangote, that's recently come into operation and is also part of us now. We have been collectively pushing. We have been holding several meetings and all of that with NMDPROA, NUPROC to ensure that there is adequate crude supply to refineries in Nigeria so that we can meet the local need. In fact, as it stands today, with Dangote production and the production from the modular refinery, we are currently self-sufficient in the production of the primary products, which are diesel, fuel oil, naphtha, and kerosene, and Dangote is producing aviation fuel. There is really no reason for importation of product into the country. And I think in the news, I've been seeing some of this argument going up and down, discussing how even the marketers are frustrating the effort of the local refineries. And I think this is also a challenge, because even in the PIA session 317 also spoke to this in the sense that the PIA anticipated the situation where at some point we'll be self-sufficient in the refining of crude in Nigeria. And this law of backward integration, where importation should not then be allowed, or maybe should be restricted, except when there is challenges and all of that. I think some of these laws, government will need to, or the regulators, they need to look at these laws properly and find a way of effecting them to support people that have actually put so much in investing in Nigeria and also creating huge employment. Because the 5 operating refineries in Nigeria today, we are employing in excess of 10,000 people. That's huge. Imagine closing those refineries down, not supporting those refineries with the feedstock that they require, and also not being able to produce product to the local market to alleviate the suffering of the people. We all saw that when that came on stream, diesel dropped from 1,600 to about 1,002. As we speak today from our refinery, we are even selling less than 1,100. So it's to tell you how far producing crude locally can support the economy and support the people of Nigeria.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand. We have the regulator, one of them, the NUPRC, and even before now, because I know I've had you on the program, I've had Mr. Idoko, who is also in your association, on the program, and now we have Dangote talking about the issue of crude availability and supply. Are there concrete, legal, legitimate reasons why the crude producers are not supplying to, or are reluctant, let me put it that way, to supply to local refineries? Is it because they make more profit exporting this crude?
For me, I think it's a double-edged question and stuff. One is that in some of the meetings we have had, some of them said they have international obligations. Some of them want to use third parties to deal with the refineries rather than dealing with us directly. For example, if a company is producing, mostly the international companies, when they produce crude in Nigeria, the PIA is asking them to deal with us, but they want us to deal with their trading companies, and those trading companies will put margin on this product. For example, I think what Dangote is going through, compare WTI and Brent. Dangote is currently buying WTI. And I think his WTI delivery to his facility as of today, from some of the information I have, I think his delivery at probably Brent, or maybe Brent +1. So, and some of these producers in Nigeria, they are selling at Brent, and they want to sell at probably Brent plus a premium through their intermediary companies. So you find out that the company who is producing crude in Nigeria probably want to deliver to a Dangote refinery at Brent plus maybe $5 or $6 up to maybe $10, depends on what it is. But product that is coming from US at WTI is delivered to Nigeria at equivalent of Brent. So why should that be the case? So they're charging premium on the product to deliver to Dangote. So product coming all the way from US, delivery at Brent, including shipment and all of that. And WTI is a bit lower. So now is someone who is producing in Nigeria is charging you premium because he's going through a trading company that is based in Europe or based somewhere in Switzerland or in London and all of that, which is also taking margin on that product. So we are saying some of these things shouldn't be like this. We should look at, for me, I see it as some of these companies, they are not being loyal to the country that they are operating in. The Senate or the National Assembly has passed a law for a company operating in Nigeria not to want to go by that law, to be contesting the law, to say this is what they can do and this is what they cannot do, is anti-country participation. They are not supporting the country. That's what it means.
So, Mr. Yakure, the law is there. It's implementation of the law now. I believe that's what you're saying.
Yes, the implementation of the law, because, I mean, in the last few months, we have been up and down with NUPROC, holding meetings here and there. For me, I think it is time. There is a template which we have developed with NUPROC. I mean, I don't think there should be any further waste of time for NUPROC to actually implement that template. They should implement it so that crude will be available, because all the time, I mean, I was reading in one of the papers last time that the chief executive of NUPROC was saying a template has been developed. Fine, it has been developed. What are we waiting for that template to be actually implemented? Because the question here is that the template that has been developed, I mean, the PIA section 109, what it says is that licenses should not be given to any of these companies to export crude.
All right.
If they are not meeting their domestic crude obligation. So the NUPROC should ensure that they meet their domestic crude obligation before they give them licenses to export crude.
All right, thank you so much. We have to stop there. Mr. Momo Oyarikwa, the chairman of OPAC Refineries and also chairman Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria. We certainly will push this message on, and hope and believe that very soon the regulators will step in and there will be abundant crude, which Nigeria is known for, to domestic refineries. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.